extension. I know that's kind of like counterintuitive because you think of the extensor synergy and the wrist is flexed, but Brunstrom also talks about if you extend the elbow, then hopefully you'll have like the overflow into the extension of the wrist, okay? This is also what we did last week with testing for wrist stabilization. So I would have her reach for this, Laura. Reach out, straighten your arm. And then when she has to grab onto something, that also facilitates wrist extension because of tenodesis. It's easier to hold on to something when your wrist is extended, okay? All right, so to do facilitate wrist extension, you want to hold on to her wrist, and you want her elbow to be straight, and you cannot touch the flexor side because that's going to make her go into flexion, okay? So you have to hold on to the sides here, sides of her wrist, without touching any of the flexors. This is very important for competencies and practicals. All right, so I would tell Laura, I want you to bring your hand up, bring your wrist up, okay? Can you bring it up? Can you bring it up at all? Okay, so she's getting a little bit, so I might place her in extension. Say, okay, Laura, hold your wrist there. Hold it, okay? Hold, 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 hold. Keep it up, don't let it drop. Now slowly lower it down, slowly lower your wrist down. Okay, now try to bring it up again. Bring it up. Bring that wrist up.
Notice the theme here.
Now hold it, hold. I took tapping away now because she's getting better. And now slowly lower it down, eccentric. Then, once she gets really good at this, she can do reciprocal movements. So, Laura, can you bring your wrist up? Bring it up. And bring it back down. Good. I could add resistance by either putting resistance against her hand or having her hold a weight. I can also have her flex her elbow. So now I'm going to bring her into flexion. And we're going to do the same thing all over again. So, Laura, can you bring your wrist up? Can you bring it up? Up. Good, now hold it there. Hold. Now slowly lower it down. And then same thing, you go through till she could get reciprocal movements with her elbow flexed, and then you can add resistance. Oh, I'm tapping extensor carpi radialis.
So, yes?
Could you start with them on a table and just like pressing over it so you can...
You could, you know those things for the hip, like, and we cut them in half and we kind of hang someone over. And sometimes, I forgot to mention this, it's probably a good point. Sometimes we put someone on, we really hang them over the side so that they're on an elongated stretch, and then start tapping and try to get them to come up. And that really works. I use this all the time. I use this to get wrist movement a lot. Okay? I use tapping, and I use this method quite often. So you'll find, and it doesn't disagree with NDT. You can use it when you practice NDT too. So should we combine this with the hand? Yeah. Okay. All right. So we're going to do releasing finger flexion. This is another thing I use all the time. Like I said, I'm not a big Brunstrom person. I tend to go more towards NDT or an eclectic approach. But I'm only teaching you the things that I still use and that really don't disagree with basic philosophy of gaining normal movement. So I want you to make a fist like this, okay? And I'm going to pick a guy, not you. I'll pick you. And see if I can do this. Don't let me release this. Okay, you can give me a little give. Did you feel like did you feel like you wanted to release? Yeah. Okay. So what I did is I provided stimulation right on the radial aspect, okay, of the thumb. And hold it tight again, but you probably don't have to give me your all, but you can give me some. Yeah. And you have a feeling that you want to release, okay? And so I'm staying away from Mobilage's reflexogenic zone. and I'm coming over here on the radial aspect. Once I got this out, I got his hand, this is how I'm holding it. And I'm fine holding it like this because I'm not stimulating the flexors. So I've shown this technique to aides who can't get a splint on because somebody's fisted. And they're like, wow, this really works. So again, you're coming over here on the radial aspect. I got his hand out and I got a hold of it. And look at here. All right? Now the other thing I can do, as long as I got, you want to lean forward a little bit more? Okay. Okay, now I got his hand. And I'm switching. Okay. Now he still has some flexor tone here, and I want to release his that flexor tone. So there's a few things I could do. I could bring him nice and slowly into supination and pronation. Nice and slow. Now when you're taking the lab practical, don't go like this. Velocity increases spasticity, so do it slow. So I got you like this. There's a few other things I could do. I could do a quick stretch to the extensors. Now think about it. Quick stretch to the extensors is in the position of flexion, right? So you got to think about the opposite. So I'm doing a quick stretch to the MP joints here. Notice the whole time I am not touching the flexor side of his hand or wrist because I don't want to stimulate that. Okay? The other thing I can do is I can do some distal squatting. I say to do it supinated, but I like to do it pronated, so you can do it that way too. A lot of times I use this technique when I'm trying to get somebody to release something. I may have them pick something up, and I may say, would you drop that over here? And they have trouble dropping it. And I just stimulate those extensors a little bit, and they're able to release. The last thing I'm going to do is bring your arm up like this, and what's at work here? Suk's phenomena, okay? So now I've just showed you a few techniques for releasing the hand that I still use with patients, and they're really effective. So I want you guys to get in your groups, okay? And I want you to practice releasing the hand and stimulating